Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Well, some things have transpired today that's forced me, or at least I feel it's necessary, to add to the video that I had planned today. And I'm going to start off with that because it is breaking news. It is some pretty big news, even though I guess a lot of the details aren't quite there. But I wanted to start off with some updates in the Trump case. And I understand that a lot of my listeners do not consider themselves necessarily Republicans. A lot of them, some of you do, and some of you are very much supportive of Trump, and we're a hardcore Trump person. And others are, you're not liberal, you're ultra conservative, and maybe feel that he wasn't even conservative enough for you. That's the feedback that I get from a lot of people. But like I said when this thing started, it doesn't really even matter what you feel or what you like, whether you like him or not. What's going on is it's never been done before in history and has only ever been done in banana republics. And today they announced, or at least have released, the warrant and the warrant information and what they retrieved in the search warrant. And basically, they are investigating Donald J. Trump for under the Espionage Act. There are 3 charges that they are currently investigating him for. One of them is under the Espionage Act. This is big deal. Most of this is because it's all because of these documents. They claim that these documents were not declassified. Donald Trump says that they were. They claim that there were classified, secret and top secret documents there, and according to the search warrant affidavit and the list of items that they took from his home, it does list those items. The point that I'm trying to get to is not so much what they took. The point is that this is a major escalation, not just in the focus of Donald Trump, because I want to talk about this, but not focus so much on him. Not because whether someone likes or dislikes him, or whether what I think about him, or whether I even think he's guilty or innocent, because I think that there's a whole lot more going on here that we need to realize. Number one, I believe it's apparent that or at least it seems, that they don't want him to run for office. I mean, there's always still that other alternative, that this is just all being planned out by both parties, or that the theory is that Donald Trump is causing this to happen on purpose. He's setting the FBI and everyone up. I understand. I get it that there's a lot of theories, but it's very difficult to start running down all the different rabbit holes of those theories. So let's just go by what we know. What we know is it's very apparent that they do not want him to run for office. They're going to try to do anything they can to stop that. It's also very possible that they are trying to push the conservative right into another, say, January 6th event, so that they can use all these powers that they've been talking about to crack down on us, extremists, patriotic extremists. This has never been done before. This kind of activity and this kind of prosecution and persecution of a former president. And of course, we all know that the things that they're talking about that he's done, that several other presidents have done the exact same thing and even worse. And of course, nothing has been done about it. But I was thinking about this today, and we'll get into a few other things here in a second. I thought, don't they realize that they're setting themselves up, the left, the Democrats, that if this doesn't work out as planned, and if Trump were to be in office, that he could use now this precedent that's been set and turn it on them and destroy them. And then I thought, unless they have it all planned out to where they absolutely know that he will never get into office. Meaning that it's rigged. The system is rigged. And that's where a lot of people need to realize is that through all the things that's happened over the last couple of years, we have seen a very clear pattern of court systems and political systems that are very much a rigged system. And if that holds true with this, then we really have no clue how this is going to end up. I think the immediate danger that us as kind of the preparedness people need to focus on is the possibility of this becoming some kind of violent confrontation somewhere. Will someone step over the line too much? Will they get what they want by pushing people to the point of them acting out? And if that happens, what is the likelihood that martial law will be enacted in the next 30 to 60 days so that martial law exists during the next election? These are all things that I think are worthy of thinking about. I understand that just a week ago or so that many people might consider this a pretty extreme conspiracy theory. But after the things that have transpired over the past week, I don't think it's that extreme anymore. I think it's something that we should definitely be thinking about and planning for. And what are your plans if that happens? What is your preparedness plan if martial law gets handed down? What do you plan on doing? If you're forced, I mean, we're talking forced, not 2020 forced, but a new kind of forced to stay in your home, to not leave. What are you going to do if you're forced with curfews, if you can't go to certain places unless you have your papers, your digital papers? These are all real possibilities, and we're talking possibilities that could happen in the next weeks and months if this thing gets out of control. And I know that may be a big if, but I think it's something we should definitely be planning and thinking about because things have happened quite rapidly. I don't think that many of us, even just a month ago, thought that this kind of stuff would pan out and would happen. Things are moving faster than probably most of us realize. And so the possibility of this going down in a very extreme path, I think, is a likelihood, and I think we should plan and prepare for it. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to happen. It may not happen. This may all just, Trump may be able to go to court and prove things, and this kind of all goes away. But I have a very, serious gut feeling that they would not take it to this extreme with this big of a show, with this much attention, if they didn't know that they had some pretty solid case against him, whether legally or through backroom dealings. So this is a pretty major thing, regardless of what you think about Donald Trump. This is a very major thing. It would be a major thing if it was, Joe Biden, and another president doing this. Any president, this kind of action's being taken. The reason why that's never happened in America is because we've always had a standard that we're not going to be like these banana republics and these dictatorships that, when someone new comes to power, the people that were in power all get thrown in jail or be executed. This is very serious, and the charges that they are investigating him for now, they're not charging him yet, or at least they haven't. These are criminal indictments, or not indictments, sorry, criminal charges that are being investigated. And if he were convicted of these, we're talking like a 20 to 30 year sentence, which of course would, negate him from being president again. So there's some pretty serious stuff going on here, and I think that I don't think it's too far extreme to make suggestions like you should probably be aware of what you're doing for the next several days. Like where you're going to go, and if you don't need to go there, don't go there. Maybe stay home more often. Be aware of where family's at. If you have plans to do some traveling, maybe that's not the best thing to do in the next week or two. And we'll see how that pans out. This is a suggestion that I give often when something really big happens and we're really unsure of. It doesn't mean that you're radically changing your life. You're just getting yourself a little bit more prepared, a little bit more ready, in case this goes hot really fast. So that's going to be my suggestion. Now, I do want to mention a few of the other things that I actually was going to talk about in this video. And that is shortages, food shortages, the shortages that we're seeing happen. I'm going to show a video here. I'm not going to play the audio because I'm just going to talk through it, but many of you have probably already seen this video. This video should be playing right now. This is a truck driver and she is delivering a truckload of baby formula. And where she's delivering it to, they're offloading that baby formula, throwing it into these, front end loaders, and dumping it in a big pile. They're trashing the baby formula. And towards the end of the video, you can clearly see that it does look like pallets filled with baby formula. And of course, the question is what's going on here? This truck driver is delivering the baby formula like they're supposed to, and they get there and they realize that they're taking that baby formula off of her truck and they're trashing it. And of course, we're hearing that there's a 70% shortage or more of baby formula here in America. What's going on here? I suspect, and I haven't seen any kind of official word on what anyone claims this is, other than just speculation, but I suspect they would say that this is either expired or contaminated formula. But the expired doesn't make sense because we've been having a shortage now for 6 months. Contaminated, that's a lot of contaminated formula. Is this more proof that all of the shortages and this whole thing that we're living in, this whole great reset, is in fact, like we've all believed, it's all orchestrated, it's all part of the plan? There's another thing here that it's not necessarily shortage, but it could certainly lead to it. And I talked about it last night on my Patreon video, that there's ammo companies now that are complaining that UPS is purposely throwing away or not delivering the ammunition that their customers are purchasing. And there's a theory or belief that this is being done because they're anti-gun and they don't want people to have ammunition. I will say that UPS is a member of the World Economic Forum, and they have their executives have attended the meetings, every year for the last few years. So this company here says that they have about 18,000 rounds of ammunition that's just gone missing, that they ship through UPS and UPS never delivers them. They don't know if they're getting destroyed, thrown away. Some, one person just happens to be a bad guy that works there and is taking it home, or if the company is turning it over to the police or what. No one really knows yet. I suspect a lawsuit will eventually happen and possibly find some information about this. But if this is a policy, or if this is something that they are doing, which I'm not really even sure how they could do it legally, it's definitely something to be aware of. And like I told my Patreons last night, it might be a good idea, if you're able to, when you are purchasing things like ammunition and gun parts and stuff, to purchase from a company that uses maybe a different shipper. I looked it up, and FedEx is not on. I could not find anything from FedEx on the World Economic Forum. I did see that DHL was a member of the World Economic Forum, so maybe FedEx is a better company to go through. I can't speak for that, but it's possible. And then the last thing that I wanted to mention before I get this video done is that I was contacted today by a pharmacist. He asked to be remain nameless, and his company to remain nameless. He's not a normal pharmacist like you would see at Walgreens. He does commercial purchasing and things like that. And he was contacted in the last couple of days by the FDA. And was notified so that he could notify his company that there are certain injectable drugs, IV drugs, that are just not available. They are pretty much off the market because of massive shortages. Of course, most of these drugs come from China, or overseas at least, but a lot of it is China. India is another place. Most of these drugs are cancer-type fighting drugs, basically life-saving drugs. These are drugs, this isn't something, not that it's not life-saving or not important, but it's not something for maybe a more minor illness. These are very much of a life-saving type of drugs. Like I said, cancer, and I think there was a heart disease and certain things like that they would use in IV form. So it's kind of concerning to see that also. I know that there have been off and on medical shortages throughout all of this, but that would certainly be something to be aware of, and I wanted to just at least pass that along to you, that I believe this is coming from a very good source also. But folks, getting back to what's transpiring today, like I always say, I don't want anyone to panic. I don't want you to, start freaking out, because number one, that's just not what we do. mean, that's the whole point of preparing, is so that we don't do that. We also know who holds tomorrow, so there's no reason to panic. But I would definitely kind of take things seriously and start getting things kind of ready, just in case. Just in case. Review plans with your spouse. Okay, you know, if things start getting bad, we're you know, not going to go here. We're going to do things this way. We're not going to go out alone. Because if things start getting bad, if there was enough pushback from Trump supporters, martial law could easily be enacted. And that's not even going to the fact of there being lots of violent outbreaks between government people and Trump supporters. I think martial law would be the more likely scenario, and it's very possible that that is one of the motives of them doing what they're doing, is trying to get us to that point. I can't speak, you know, confidently of that. It's just speculation. But the fact is that we should take this pretty seriously, because this has never been done, and there's so little out there that all of us are just speculating. None of us really know what's going on, and we don't know what tomorrow holds. And it's quite clear that they're moving along pretty fast with things. So folks, get your houses in order. Prepare yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.